Sean Strickland gets it done and finally gets that finish on his opponent in the second round too. Once I saw Sean Strickland taking off the first round, he wasn't doing much offensively. I already knew what his game plan was. He was going to allow his opponent to exhaust himself by throwing everything he can because Strickland's defense is on magnitudes better than his offense. His boxing defense specifically is amazing to watch, and if you guys hear fireworks in the background, that's just the American fans celebrating Strickland's win. Actually pretty ironic that fireworks are going off when Strickland just won. But yes, Abus Magomedov is known to be a very explosive fighter. He has a lot of finishes, and he's not used to his opponents taking or defending his shots. Most of his wins are first round knockouts. So for his second fight in the UFC, it was a new thing going up against such a great fighter. He didn't know how to approach it other than the way he always approaches fights. Throw all of his power and the opponent is going to crumble. Strickland's defense was great to watch. It was the majority of what he was doing in the fight up until he heard Chris Curtis in his corner tell him to double up on the jab and then throw the right. Don't throw just the jab or just the 1-2. You have to double up on the jab before you throw the right hand. And the reason why that was working is because Abus has something about him where he drops his guard after the second jab, and that allows Strickland to connect on him with the right hand, and that was the combo that hurt Abus in the second round. That was the beginning of the end. For pretty much the entire second round was Strickland hunting his prey. All Abus had in the second round was just exploding with one big shot, hoping he can get Strickland with it, but Strickland was able to evade those overhands and just unload with combos every single time Abus covered up. You cannot shell up like this in MMA. The gloves are too small. You could do it in boxing for a little bit, but in MMA, you're looking to just get pummeled. There's very little defense when you're doing this. So your hands can block, but all you're really doing is bracing for the punches. You're accepting that you're going to get hit. And even against someone like Strickland, who doesn't have the most power, he's able to hurt you if he connects on you with enough of these punches. And that was pretty much how the fight played out. He called out, in his words, the first Chinese champion, Izzy. That's what he said. Strickland completely caught me off guard with that. The guy's really funny. He's great for promotion. He's great to have interviews with and make the pre-fight stuff fun. But also, I did love how he was thanking the fans, because without the fans, it would be nothing. That was great to hear from Strickland. But when we talk about his defenses, it all comes for the fact that he spars so much. He sees punches coming at him so often in sparring. It's just second nature when it happens in fights. Specifically, whenever Abus was trying to blitz in with a shift combo, switch stances in the middle of his combination, he would usually duck into overhands and straight punches. From the straight punches, Strickland would evade it moving away. He did this multiple times throughout the fight, but when the overhands were coming, which were the main punches that Abus was throwing, Strickland wouldn't block it like a traditional boxer. He wouldn't just pick his hands up next to his head to block it. Instead, he brings his arm outward, so the overhand can't even crash into his arm that would also cause impact on his head. This causes no impact whatsoever, but is a lot riskier to defend with. That's how he was defending most of the overhands, just doing that. And Abus did not have a good answer for it, except two. There were two great things he was doing. Teeps to the body. He threw a lot of those and almost all of them landed. Strickland was just getting pushed away from them and then re-engaging. But even bigger than that, which he for some reason Abus abandoned, were the leg kicks. Every single leg kick was landing big time. And then for some reason, at like the 1.5 minute mark, he just stopped throwing it altogether. Maybe because he was getting tired. That would be the only thing I would think about. Or he just doesn't have the best fight IQ. Strickland may be good at boxing defense and grappling defense, but his leg kicking defense is statistically one of the worst in the UFC. The guy barely defends any leg kicks. And in this fight, Abus had a lot of success with them, but then went away from it, and he gassed out very quickly. He has great offensive tools. The way that Abus throws his punches and kicks is with great snap, a lot of power. He may be one of the most powerful guys in the middleweight division. He has decent form as well. He's very fast and long, but he needs to pick his shots out more, especially against the better guys. If he's going to fight guys outside the top 15 or even the lower end of the top 15, because the middleweight division is not that stacked, he's going to be able to find these kind of shots on these guys. But when you go up against like the top 5 and then also including Strickland for his defense, you need to set up your punches and become a lot more patient. Look at Ilia Topuria, for example. When Ilia went up against a top 5 guy in the featherweight division, he changed his style. He became a lot more patient because he understood that he had to. Abus, who has a lot more fights than Ilia and is also older, he didn't find the top organizations. That's a bit of a difference there, but he didn't understand it to the same level that Ilia Topuria did. Ilia is only, 26 years old? Has like 12 fights or something, and he understood that he needed to fight differently when he went up against one of the best featherweights. Top 5, right? Top 5 usually look as the top tier of the weight class. For Abus against Strickland, who's top 7, but he has top 5 defense, he also needed to make that kind of adjustment, and he didn't. Hopefully he learns from this because he does have great potential. He is talented. He is very powerful. I could expect him to at least be a very fun fighter, putting on exciting performances in the future if he's not going to be like a high-ranked guy. But he has a talent, especially in the middleweight division that needs younger fighters. He could be a guy that enters at least into the top 15. So great performance by Sean Strickland. I would say probably his best performance in recent time. His Brennan Allen finish was actually really good back in the day, which is funny because that was his last finish that he had. He wants to fight Adesanya. I don't think he worked for it yet. I know a lot of people think that he beat Cannonier, but he did officially lose to him. Maybe you do the rematch because nobody really makes sense for Cannonier. So because that Strickland fight was so close, maybe you put on the rematch, and the winner of that gets a title shot after the winner of Whitaker and Dricus. The winner of Whitaker and Dricus. So if you guys enjoyed the breakdown, and if you did, make sure to give this a thumbs up. If you enjoyed my content, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.